Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on where in the world you are joining me from. I am 𝐿𝐿uminati, and this is the Crypto and Cognac podcast show, as always, live every Thursday, 7 p.m. sharp Atlantic Standard Time. Welcome back to those of you in the United States of America. It's 7 o'clock your time too, unless you're on the West Coast. Right, hard luck, Daddy G. Right, guys, we are back in studio. So what does that mean? Carnival is over, vacation time is over, time to get back to it. And I don't even know if I really want to get back to it because things been choppy. I mean, I kind of happy that I've been fetting and zessing and palancing on the streets of Port of Spain over the last couple of weeks because things have been kind of hectic in not just the crypto sphere, but all global markets. And we're going to talk about it today, right? Of course, if I'm here, who here? What we are doing? Any here, anywhere, I be there, any there. Carnival is over, so we're going to take a little break from the VS. We're going to have some VSOP. I mean, really, nothing really to celebrate, but it's Thursday, it's March, we are alive, and I usually say this at the end, but I'm going to say it now because it's something to celebrate and cheers and toast over. Adoption is inevitable. But before we get into it, house rules, right? You see this piece of thing inside this glass? That is called a block of ice. And the same way we have our yak is the same way we have our crypto talk. It's all about information, conversation, education. This is purely for entertainment and educational purposes only. I am not a financial advisor. This is not a financial advisory podcast. Nothing that I share here tonight and any night that is to follow or any night that has preceded this should be misconstrued as financial advice. Not gonna tell nobody 𝐿𝐿uminati say buy crypto. I never said that. I'm telling you what I'm doing. I'm telling you what's going on in the market. You do what's right for you. Do your own research. Right? Shout out to everybody in the comments. Big up my brother Stevie, as always, checking in. But yeah, guys, what we talking about? It's March. You know, if you're a basketball fan, college basketball fan especially, it's March Madness. But clearly, March Madness has infected the whole equity market space. I mean, infected what it seems to be like the halls of power across the world. Over the last month or so, the global financial markets have been experiencing some significant volatility, from Wall Street all the way to that side track next to that old woman house where you just pass to go and get mango. Yeah, that's what crypto is, right? From Wall Street all the way to that track, everything has been affected. No sector has been spared, right? And today we're going to talk a little bit about what has triggered that level of volatility. We're going to talk a little bit about the escalating trade tensions, not just in North America, but across the world, primarily catalyzed by the escalating trade tensions between President Donald J. Trump, his administration, and his closest trade and geographical partners, that is Canada, that is Mexico, and across the pond, that is China. Trump and his administration, they have introduced some significant tariffs. Trump signed an executive order last month imposing a 25% tariff on all goods from Mexico and Canada, which he later lowered to 10% tariff, specifically on Canadian energy exports, excluding oil and natural gas. So these tariffs, after he did that, obviously when that was implemented, Canada retaliated by imposing 25% tariffs on $155 billion worth of US goods, which was said to be executed in 2 phases. Mexico announced plans to implement retaliatory tariffs themselves, and we've been going back and forth like that. This was further intensified a few weeks ago when President Trump announced that he would be placing tariffs on all US imports of steel and aluminum, not Illuminati, right? Eliminating previous exemptions. So it has been, kind of crazy. Of course, other allies, including Australia, Britain, Japan, Brazil, have been criticizing America for this tariff imposition. Anybody who trades with the US is sitting very nervous right now, right? Because if they are willing to do this to their closest neighbors, some of their closest trading partners, you might be up next. And all this uncertainty around global trade, of course, is making people extremely nervous. People are concerned about the potentials for increased inflation. People are concerned for the potential fallout that these escalating tensions create. Of course, when soft power starts failing, people move towards hard power. How do these tensions impact what we've always known to be tensions that have been bubbling under the surface, but people have kind of, kept it professional because they needed each other? Okay, so what happens now, right? Of course, there have been a lot of global economic indicators that have also kind of lend itself towards this whole thing. We talked about inflation, and of course, with the introduction of tariffs, we can expect, especially in the short term, that inflation is going to increase as US consumers will obviously have the cost of these tariffs passed on to them, right? This is potentially going to lead to, a slowdown in economic activity. People are going to start to watch what they're buying more, potentially driving hindering economic growth, obviously extending fears of stagnation, especially because the US economy has been moving in unfamiliar territories for them in terms of growth. The Federal Reserve and various business surveys indicate that companies are expecting to pass, like I said, these additional costs on to consumers, potentially accelerating core inflation towards 4%. This scenario, I think, is very scary because it leads to higher costs, lower growth, and I don't know what the plan is for the US long term. We here in the crypto space, we have not been immune to the turmoil by any means. I mean, we are used to this kind of volatility. But still, we thought with all this new institutional money coming in, we were expecting that things would kind of stabilize a little bit. We were not expecting these 30% pullbacks. Obviously, we talked about the fact that Bitcoin reached as high as 109,000 in January. It has since nosedived by 25% down to as low as 70. I think we touched 77,000. We are now bubbling. Where we at? We're bubbling just above 80,000. Let me see where we at. Yeah, 80,967 as we speak. I think right now everybody's afraid. Everybody's scared. We see the fear greed index at all-time low levels. everybody who has been drawing lines across charts, all the TA people, I think at this point they're ready to tear up their charts, because the fact of the matter is that the TA really can't help you when what is driving the movement in the market is the words coming out of an individual's mouth and his administration's actions at any given time, and nobody really knows what's gonna come out of the Donald's mouth next. So very, very curious times across the market. Like I said, I think we here in the crypto space, we have been used to this, but obviously as the markets around us do poorly, and people look to stockpile cash, it will hurt us. But on the flip side of that, when the confidence comes back, do people go back to the traditional stock market? Do they think it's going to recover in time to recoup the gains that they would have lost? Or do they try something that might be a little bit more dynamic? Something might give them the opportunity to recover a little bit faster? Or does it cause people to lose confidence in those traditional spaces all in all? So I think on the flip side of that, that opens a lot of opportunities for the crypto space. Of course, we've seen the introduction of the strategic Bitcoin reserve. I think at these prices is where some of these governments, some of these nation states are going to be looking to accumulate. I think none of this is coincidental, right? So I think when those announcements start coming hot and heavy, we're going to see a sharp turnaround in market sentiment. Maybe we see a strengthening of Bitcoin dominance before people start kind of looking elsewhere to some of the other alts, and then we see the altcoins season start later in the year. Again, I'm still looking at July before I even start thinking about taking anything off the table. Based on some of the things that have happened now, I might push that back a little bit, maybe August, September. I still think we have a long cycle ahead of us. But worst case scenario, we press pause and we wait another 4 years, right? Because nobody has ever invested in Bitcoin over a 4-year period and lost. So if your time horizons look a little bit tighter than that, if you're feeling a little bit nervous about your stack and what it's doing, whether it's in the traditional financial space or in the crypto space, maybe it's time to take some stuff off the board. Maybe a little bit too overexposed, and maybe you should be protecting your neck, right? Always try to manage your own expectations, manage your mental health around this trading space, around this investment space, especially around this crypto space. Go outside, touch some grass, drink some yak, chill a little bit, and you're gonna be okay, right? You're not dead, so you can make it back, right? Shouts out to my brother Brad. Happy birthday, my brother. Right, soon come. Guys, that's it for me. That's what I wanted to say. It's not just us, right? So stop the panicking, right? Wherever it's to be will be, right? If we've been hearing talk about a global financial crash for a while, is this it? I don't know, right? But I know there's one asset that has a finite supply, that is accessible globally by anyone, that is super liquid, that is digital, and I think that's going to be around for a while. So if you're looking for something to weather the storm in, if you're looking for a little bunker, right? I'm talking about an asset class that starts with B as well, right? So be good, guys. As always, Illuminati. OUT. What that under my nose? I'm out. Blessed.